always wanted to do one of those really dramatic intros. It's time we have a serious discussion, y'all. Anime games just suck. We have to come to an agreement. We have to come together as a community and just agree on one thing. They terrible, bro. It just is what it is. But why are they so bad? I think there's a lot of things that go into why anime games just generally tend to be rather lackluster experiences altogether. And I'm gonna try to break some of those most important core issues down here in this video. Now, before I go on a full-on assault on anime games, I just wanted to reiterate one very, very important thing. If you enjoy anime games or whatever game you enjoy, awesome, I'm happy for you, congratulations. Play whatever you want to play what makes you happy, play whatever it is that you enjoy, and just have fun, who cares? But I think if we're all being honest with ourselves, we can all like games and have soft spots for games that we can realize and recognize as like not being really that good of an experience. So even if you do love your anime games like Dragon Ball Xenoverse or Naruto Shinobi Striker or Jump Force, who am I kidding? You guys don't like Jump Force or Shinobi Striker, right? I think you have to come to a realization that these games, even if you do like them, can be much, much better. And honestly, I don't believe there's valid enough reasons for these games not to be incredible. Let's talk about it. So I think one of the first issues we see with anime games is a huge identity crisis. They don't know what they want to be. Think about how many different kinds of Dragon Ball games we've received over the years. We have Battle of Z, which is trying to be like some cooperative campaign experience.
Battle online with friends worldwide. Unite and battle with up to 4 players. Work together to unleash unbelievable co-op action.
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which is trying to be an open world massive RPG.
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is an action RPG where you can take control of the legendary hero Kakarot, better known as Goku.
We have Xenoverse, which is an arena fighter, and more often than not, we generally get arena fighters, but you're kidding yourself if you wouldn't agree that the history of Dragon Ball Z games is a rather sporadic one. And I think when you look at some of the most successful franchises out there, they hit a niche and then they stick with it and continue on with that one niche that carries them because it works for that kind of game that they're trying to create. In my opinion, there's no reason why Dragon Ball or Naruto can't have video game franchises on the level of something like Pokemon. Because if we think about this, Dragon Ball Z and Naruto have mass-wide appeal, just like Pokemon does. But when it comes to the video game front, there's like almost no crossover there. Why? I think it's because of the fact that these games are generally undermarketed and also not very good. I think when you have a normal, regular person that looks at a Dragon Ball Z or a Naruto game, it looks like something that's only for like the hardcore fans or something like that. And I think that's so true because when you find out who plays these games and who defends these games, it's generally really hardcore fans. You might have somebody that picks up a Dragon Ball game on some casual shit and plays it for a little bit, but they never really stick to these games because they're just frankly not that good. And to further prove my point, I think one of the best examples we've gotten of a really good anime game franchise has been the Naruto Storm series. And that's because that series found its stride, it found what it was good at, and continued to build on that game after game after game. Dragon Ball has nothing like that. Xenoverse may be the closest we get to it, so hopefully we can get a really good experience with Xenoverse 3 whenever that comes out. But even Xenoverse 2, which is a game that I think is a really good Dragon Ball Z game, even then that game doesn't have like polish. It doesn't feel really good. Like it doesn't feel like, it doesn't have that level of polish that like Naruto Storm has. So I think the fact that these anime games are spreading themselves so thin is a reason why they just simply can't succeed. If every time you go to make a new Dragon Ball game or Naruto game or One Piece game or Black Clover game or whatever kind of anime you're trying to make a game out of, If you're just scrapping your whole game plan and starting over from scratch every single time, of course you're never going to get any progress. You have to learn from your failures and build upon it to make something truly great. And Dragon Ball games just don't do that. Again, take a look at Pokemon. We went from Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue to all the way to where we got now with Pokemon Sword and Shield, and the core gameplay is still the same, which is honestly one of the major complaints that you get with Pokemon games, but it found out what it's good at, it continued to do it, and it built upon it generation after generation. Now, I'm not saying that experimenting is bad in its own right. I think if we were to have really solid Dragon Ball games or something, there's nothing wrong with trying to make something like Kakarot, but the fact that we don't have anything good other than Dragon Ball FighterZ is really a head scratcher. And Dragon Ball FighterZ is a bit of an anomaly because that game is an Arc Sys game with like a Dragon Ball skin on it, which is still a phenomenal experience. It's still a great game. It's very faithful to Dragon Ball, and we're very, very lucky to have something like that as Dragon Ball fans. So we should really thank Arc Sys for making that. And that leads me to another point that I think is very, very troubling with these anime games. You have these huge names and you give them to questionable developers. Like when you give a great license to somebody like Arc Sys, who put so much passion and put so much work into their games, we get something like Dragon Ball FighterZ. Why are we trusting these I don't want to use an exaggeratory term here, but why are we using like no-name questionable developers to handle a franchise as big as Dragon Ball? That doesn't make any sense to me. You wouldn't expect Nintendo to sort of have one of their major franchises be spearheaded by a developer that they weren't really confident in. So why are we doing it and accepting it rather for these games? And I think one of the major reasons why is due to the licensing issues in general. With anime, Japan can be very old-fashioned in how they handle their properties and their licenses. So they may license out their big name franchises like Dragon Ball and Naruto to a publisher like Bandai, and then it's Bandai's job to fulfill the requirements of their contractual agreement on why they get to have those games. Because what happens is when you have a franchise like a Dragon Ball, it gets licensed out to a developer to sort of make games for, and then that developer has to be like, okay, they want a game every year with the Dragon Ball title on it, we have to go ahead and find developers that are going to do this. It's the same exact thing with like sports games, for example. In order to make an NBA or an NFL game, you have to have the licensing agreement from the NFL or from the NBA in order to use the players and the teams and everything else that falls under the umbrella of that particular sport. It's the same exact thing for anime and manga. And this puts publishers like Bandai in a very sticky situation because they're forced to make these games very regularly, or they're gonna lose the license to be able to make Dragon Ball and Naruto games in general. And then that license could go to anybody, it could go to Konami or something, like we don't know. So obviously if you're a publisher and you have a big fish like these big ass anime games, you want to keep that under your umbrella because that's very, very profitable for you. And because of all these licensing agreements, that's why we have no competition with anime games, because only one publisher is allowed to publish them, and that one publisher is allowed to choose whatever developer they want to make this game. We get no competition in this field at all. And it's just like sports games. The reason why Madden sucks, the reason why NBA 2K sucks is because of the fact that there's just simply no competition out there, and it's because of the licensing agreements. If you had anybody available to make a Dragon Ball game or something, who knows the kind of crazy shit we would get. And I don't even necessarily think that's a future that I would want to see or that is even really plausible. What I think would be best is if the owners of these licenses sort of ease up on the stipulations in these contracts and make it to where if you want to take 3-4 years to make a really good Dragon Ball game or something, you have that time to do so. But again, I don't think that's going to be a possibility because at the end of the day, they're making a lot of profits right now, and it would be stupid to change that up. And that brings me to my last point. The biggest reason why I think anime games are bad is because we support them. You know, we see something with our favorite characters on it, something that really defined our childhood, something that we identify with, and we can control that character. We can play as that character. Dude, of course we're going to buy into it. And the developers and publishers and the license owners know that. They know that Dragon Ball has such a moving effect. They know that Naruto sells. You know, they know that these anime have wide fan bases that will eat up and buy anything that is released from them. So that's why they can kind of not care about the quality of the game so long as there's people like us to buy them and support them. And like I said in the beginning, you can enjoy these games, you can have fun with these games, that's completely fine. But the fact of the matter is that supporting them and buying them is detrimental to the overall quality of the games that we're receiving. And now this could go down a dark path of, because nobody's buying these games, they just stop making them because they think that the franchises are just not profitable anymore. Or it could go down a path of we vote with our wallets, we don't purchase these games, and then that leads to these developers and publishers meeting together and being like, okay, maybe we have to have a different strategy plan to make these games better. But knowing businesses, they'd more than likely just stop production on these games in general, which is really heartbreaking because we're forced with two options that both kind of suck. We either keep buying and supporting these rather mediocre anime games, or don't support them and then we don't get anything. And it's really disheartening because, man, I love these anime. Naruto is as much of a personality trait for me as it is a show that I love to watch. Like, I don't know if there's a day in my life that I go through without making a Naruto reference, whether I realize it or not. Like, it's ingrained in me. Same thing with shit like Dragon Ball, Full Metal, Death Note. These things are a part of who we are in a weird way. So it really, really sucks that the game representation of it is just not there. So I don't know, man. It's like a never-ending cycle that I don't think will ever be fixed. But this just made me realize how badly I want great anime games. I don't know why I felt compelled to make this video. I don't know what came over me, but I was just sitting here thinking. I was scrolling through my old YouTube videos, looking at how I used to make so much Xenoverse content and stuff, and just really reminiscing about those times. And it really made me think of, like, why don't I play anime games anymore? They used to be such a big part of my channel. Back before I even had 1,000 subscribers, I was making Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 videos and Tenkaichi videos like every single day. But now, here in 2020, the games that were such a big part of my life at one point are almost non-existent. And maybe it's because I've grown up and my standards for games have increased, or maybe it's because the games just aren't as good as they used to be, or maybe it's because back then I was way more willing to accept flawed gameplay experiences because it included characters that I really, really loved. I don't know, man. I guess this is just me reminiscing about old games. I've been in a very nostalgic mood recently. What do you guys think about anime games? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say about them. Do you guys agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.